The race to conquer the driverless car market has stepped up a gear, with the first ever tests of an autonomous vehicle built in Britain on the country's public roads. Jaguar Land Rover is leading the pack with its major landmark trial, which aims to help vehicles react in a similar way to people. The pilot project is part of a government-backed bid to encourage more widespread use of automated cars by 2020. Jaguar Land Rover is conducting the tests on the streets of Coventry, the historic heart of the British car industry, where the firm is headquartered. JLR hopes the testing will allow it to understand more about how self-driving vehicles interact with other cars and road infrastructure, such as traffic lights, and how models can replicate human behavior whilst driving. Further trials are scheduled to take place in Coventry and Milton Keynes early next year, followed by a final series of open road demonstration events in both cities during the second half of 2018. Nick Rogers, the firm's executive director for product engineering, said, "By using inputs from multiple sensors, and finding intelligent ways to process this data, we are gaining accurate technical insight to pioneer the automotive application of these technologies." Politicians are trying to make it as easy as possible to test new driving technologies in Britain, seeking to build an industry to serve a worldwide market expected to be worth around $900 billion by 2025. An automated and electric vehicles bill is currently being debated in Parliament to set out how new technologies will operate in Britain. Car makers Tata, Ford and Jaguar Land Rover are part of driverless car projects in Britain, as part of the UK Auto Drive Group. The project is the UK's largest trial of connected and autonomous vehicle technology. The connected car trials are exploring the benefits of having cars that can talk to each other and their surroundings. Connected traffic lights, emergency vehicle warnings and emergency braking alerts are among the other technologies being trialed. Major automotive firms are seeking to head off the challenge from technology firms like Google, which is also developing autonomous vehicles. Waymo, Google's driverless car company, said earlier this month that it will launch a ride-hailing service with no human behind the steering wheel. It has been testing the fully self-driving cars on public roads in the U.S. state of Arizona. But manufacturers still need to overcome a number of technological and legal obstacles, including determining who would be responsible in the event of an accident. Britain is aiming to be more flexible in its approach to driverless testing than some other major economies. Germany says it will require black boxes to be fitted in such vehicles, and automakers are having to navigate different rules across US states. JLR is working on self-driving systems, while Ford is developing technology that will enable cars to communicate with each other, as well as the on-road testing of connected and autonomous cars in Milton Keynes and Coventry. UK Auto Drive is also trialling a fleet of up to 40 self-driving pavement-based pod vehicles in Milton Keynes. Both types of vehicle due to take part in the project's final technology demonstrations next year. This would mean that if a nearby car has to brake suddenly, surrounding vehicles will be warned. In February and March, Nissan demonstrated one of its autonomous electric Leaf cars on roads around London's Excel Centre. It was the Tokyo company's first test of the technology on European roads. Last October, a pod heavily adapted from a compact Renault car was the first autonomous car to take to Britain's streets. It was part of government-backed trials aimed at seeing more widespread use of such vehicles by 2020. The government is encouraging technology companies, car makers and startups to develop and test their autonomous driving technologies in Britain. The pod, like a small two-seater car, was developed by a company spun out from Oxford University and was tested in Milton Keynes. It operates fully without human control, using data from cameras and radars to move around pedestrianised areas. It was made by Oxford University firm Oxbotica, with software developed by the university's Oxford Robotics Institute. Organisers in Milton Keynes ran a number of exercises ahead of the trial, including mapping the town and conducting safety planning with the local council. The city was selected alongside 3 other locations for autonomous technology projects, partly due to its wide pavements and cycle path network.